Picture 1,000 ships crowding a single Greek harbor, all bound for one city. An entire civilization was about to go to war over one woman. Her name was Helen, said to be the most beautiful woman alive. She was already married to a Spartan king named Menelaus. According to legend, a Trojan prince named Paris took her from him. Some versions claim she was kidnapped, others say she went willingly. Either way, Menelaus considered it an unforgivable insult to his honor. He turned to his powerful brother, King Agamemnon of Mycenae, for help. Agamemnon called on every Greek king who had once sworn an oath. Years earlier, Helen's suitors had all promised to defend her marriage. Now that oath bound them to a massive, bloody war. Kings from across Greece answered the call and gathered their armies. Among them was Achilles, a warrior said to be nearly invincible. Legend claimed his mother had dipped him in a magical river. Only his heel remained untouched and therefore vulnerable. Another key figure was Odysseus, a king known for his sharp cunning. He initially tried to avoid the war by feigning madness. His trick failed, and he was forced to join the expedition. The massive Greek fleet finally set sail for the city of Troy. Troy stood as a wealthy, heavily fortified city across the Aegean Sea. Its walls were said to be nearly impossible to breach by force. King Priam ruled Troy, with his son Hector as its greatest defender. Hector was widely respected, even by his enemies, for his honor. The Greeks landed on Trojan shores, ready for a swift victory. Instead, they found a siege that would drag on for years. What followed would become one of history's most legendary conflicts. 9 years into the siege, neither side could claim victory. Troy's walls held firm against every Greek assault. Then a bitter quarrel erupted within the Greek camp itself. Agamemnon and Achilles argued fiercely over a captured woman. Agamemnon claimed her as compensation, insulting Achilles deeply. Furious, Achilles withdrew from the fighting entirely. Without their greatest warrior, the Greeks began losing ground rapidly. Hector's forces pushed the Greeks back toward their own ships. Desperate, Achilles' closest companion Patroclus begged to help. Patroclus asked to wear Achilles' famous armor into battle. He hoped the sight alone would frighten the Trojans back. Achilles reluctantly agreed, but warned him not to pursue too far. Patroclus charged into battle and drove the Trojans back successfully. Carried away by victory, he ignored Achilles' warning completely. Hector met him in single combat outside the city walls. Hector struck him down, believing he had killed Achilles himself. When news reached Achilles, his grief turned instantly into rage. He blamed himself for allowing his friend into danger. Achilles returned to battle, seeking only one target, Hector. The two greatest warriors of the war finally faced each other. Achilles chased Hector 3 times around the walls of Troy. Their duel ended with Hector fatally wounded on the battlefield. In his fury, Achilles dragged Hector's body behind his chariot. King Priam, Hector's father, was devastated beyond words. Under cover of night, Priam secretly entered the Greek camp. He begged Achilles directly for the return of his son's body. Even Achilles, seemingly invincible, would not survive the war. Paris struck him with an arrow guided toward his one weak spot. The arrow found his heel, the only place he could be wounded. Greece's greatest warrior fell, and the siege dragged on without him. Despite 10 years of fighting, Troy's walls still stood unbroken. The Greeks realized brute force alone would never take the city. A cunning king named Odysseus proposed a radical new plan. Instead of another assault, he suggested a trick. The Greeks would build an enormous wooden horse as a gift. Inside its hollow body, elite soldiers would hide in secret. The rest of the Greek army would pretend to sail away. Trojans watching from the walls would believe the war was finally over. Greek craftsmen built the massive horse over several tense days. A soldier named Sinon volunteered to stay behind and deceive the Trojans. He would claim the Greeks had abandoned him and sailed home. The Greek fleet sailed just out of sight, hiding near a nearby island. Trojans emerged from their walls to examine the mysterious wooden horse. Sinon was captured and brought before King Priam himself. He spun a convincing story about Greek betrayal and his escape. He claimed the horse was an offering meant to ensure safe travels. Not everyone believed him. A priest named Laocoon voiced strong suspicion. He warned the Trojans never to trust gifts from the Greeks. Moments later, sea serpents reportedly emerged and killed Laocoon and his sons. Many Trojans saw this as a sign the gods favored the horse. Against a few remaining warnings, they dragged the horse inside their walls. That night, the city celebrated what it believed was final victory. As Troy slept, the city celebrated its apparent victory. Inside the wooden horse, Greek soldiers waited in total silence. Under cover of darkness, they quietly climbed out one by one. They crept to the city gates and threw them wide open. The full Greek army, hidden nearby, poured into the city. Troy, caught completely off guard, had no chance to organize defense. Fires spread rapidly through homes, temples, and palace halls. King Priam was killed within his own royal palace. Chaos and destruction consumed the once mighty city of Troy. Some Trojans managed to escape amid the confusion and flames. According to legend, a warrior named Aeneas fled with his family. His escape would later inspire an entirely different legendary saga. Helen, the woman said to have started the war, survived the destruction. Accounts differ on whether she returned willingly to Menelaus. By dawn, the great city of Troy lay completely in ruins. A conflict that lasted a decade ended in a single night. For centuries afterward, many considered Troy nothing more than myth. No solid evidence suggested the city had ever truly existed. That changed in the 1870s with a determined amateur archaeologist. Heinrich Schliemann excavated a mound in modern-day Turkey called Hisarlik. Beneath its layers, he uncovered the ruins of an ancient fortified city. Further excavations revealed multiple cities built atop one another over centuries. One layer showed clear signs of violent destruction by fire. Historians still debate whether this proves the war exactly as told. Most agree some real conflict likely inspired the legendary story. 3,000 years later, the tale of Troy still captivates the world.